This is Jonathan Angel here for Pro Boxing Fans. Delighted to be joined by the former world heavyweight champion, viral social media sensation, Joseph Parker. Joseph, how you doing? How's the family doing?
Thank you. I'm doing good, and the family is doing pretty good. Actually, the family is doing amazing. It's with this lockdown, we've had time to just really, spend time with each other. Myself, three daughters, and my partner. And usually I'm overseas, traveling for camp and traveling around for the fights and meetings and sponsorship meetings here and there. But it's I haven't left the house in 4 weeks, so the family is doing great, and I think they're enjoying every moment of our time together.
I last saw you in Vegas about 6 weeks ago, just before Fury Wilder.
Yeah.
We're now doing it over the way of the world now. But what's the situation like in New Zealand at the moment? Obviously, in the UK, we're in lockdown. Been in lockdown for about 4 weeks now. What's it like in New Zealand?
Yeah, it's the same here in New Zealand. We've been in lockdown now for four weeks or over 4 weeks, and I think next week we are probably gonna, well, from what I've been reading and hearing on the news, and that we're gonna be moving back down to level three next week. It still means we still have to stay indoors and not go out, publicly. There's no gyms that are gonna be open, but I mean, it's I think it's improving.
It's good to hear. What was the situation with you? You'd obviously had your fight with Shaundell Winters in Texas. First of all, congratulations on the win.
Yeah,
Managed to
thank
catch
you.
up with it. Were you pleased with the performance first of all?
I'm always pleased when you get a win, and always pleased when you win in good fashion. So I was happy with that, and it was, I haven't been in the ring for a while
Mm.
before that fight, so it's always good to get in the ring. Nothing beats fighting. You can do all the training and all the sparring, running, sit-ups, weights, whatever, but nothing beats actually the feeling of being in the ring and fighting. So it was great to get a win, good fashion, and the goal was from that fight to build onto that and be busy this year. Unfortunately, with what's come up, I think I'm not even sure when I want to fight next. And I guess it's the same for not only other fighters around the world, but all athletes and all people that have different types of work. It's all on hold at the moment. So it was a good start to the year, though.
Absolutely, it was. You didn't seem to show too much ring rust. It was quite a dominant performance, but Shaundell Winters was a very good fighter. He stayed in there, took quite a few shots from you. Was it sort of the display you and Kevin wanted?
I think myself, I wanted to, I felt like I needed. I mean, to capture the attention, you can't just box and move all the time. You have to, and I'm good. I think I'm pretty good at boxing and moving and avoiding getting hit. But I think, with moving forward, I wanted to be more aggressive, and I just wanted to be in there in the pocket. I think that's not what Kevin wanted. I think he wanted me to box and move and be more smart. But I guess the excitement of not being in the ring for a long time and then being in the ring, I just wanted to get in there and throw the punches and let them go.
What sort of training have you managed to do during this time? Has Kevin set you sort of a training regime to get on with?
No, he hasn't sent me any. I mean, I haven't been doing a lot of boxing,
Mm.
but I have been keeping up to scratch with my fitness and my strength. I'm pretty fortunate that I have a treadmill, assault bike. I've got weights, kettlebells, slam balls, all the dumbbells. So, I mean, I have no excuse, and I have a big mirror in front of here over here just to do this thing. So, no bag, no one's holding it, but I can do everything else.
Yeah, and you've certainly been working out in these videos. I do want to just come on to these videos you've been putting out during this lockdown period that everyone's been loving. Personal favourite of mine was the Step Brothers video. Um, I thought that was brilliant. But how have you come up with these ideas, and who's filming it?
Bob was my partner and our three kids, and then my sister and her husband do the groceries for us here and there, and then my good friend Kerry Russell does the groceries for us as well. And he's a great friend of mine, and he is the magic man. He is the man who comes up with the ideas. He does all the filming and he edits everything himself. And so I like to take the credit for being the guy that the genius that comes with ideas, but he makes me look good. So I mean, you see me in the car. There's the one with the Step Brothers. There's Love Actually. There's the one with the neighbor. Throwing the toilet paper around, and then there's the latest one, the Time Warp. He just comes up with the ideas, and I'm just like one of those guys that goes, all right, let's have some fun. Let's do it.
And how long do they take to film?
Not long at all. I mean, the one in the car would have taken half an hour, but because of the windy conditions, and the sun hiding behind the clouds and raining, the one in the car took a little longer than expected. I mean, it took like, I reckon, 4 hours, 3 or 4 hours. But if it was a nice day and it's sunny and no wind and no rain, it would have taken, I reckon, half an hour.
Did you think they were going to have the impact they've had? I mean, they're cheering a lot of people up during this lockdown period. I see them on Twitter all the time. Not just even boxing fans, just general people. Did you think they were going to have this impact?
I didn't expect the first video that we did, Love Actually. We're doing it for fun, and we wanted to show, because that's how I am in person. I like to have fun and relax and have a laugh. And so we, since the lockdown began, we're like, okay, you know what? Let's just be ourselves. Let's just have fun and enjoy. And once we posted it, the reaction was great. And I guess a lot of people are struggling at home, with the lockdown. And I think doing the videos is giving them something to, smile at, giving them something, some of them were quite funny, so they're having a good laugh. And the reaction has been fantastic.
Yeah. Have you got any more lined up that you can tell us? Any more videos coming?
Listen, if I had an idea, I'll tell you. If I had an idea, I'll tell you, but I'm not the ideas man.
We'll talk back onto some boxing now. I saw there was rumours of an all New Zealand clash between you and Junior Fall. How likely was that before all of this happened? Is that a fight you want in the future?
I think any fight that I can get, which will get me closer to fighting for a world title, and that's the fight I want. So if it makes sense to Matchroom, if it makes sense to my management team, and then I'll take whatever fight that we all decide on. Does it make sense to Kevin?
I mean, is it even difficult to sort of talk about names at this time, because we don't really know when boxing's going to come back? So what is your sort of mindset at the moment when it comes to fighting? Is it just a case of staying ready? Will you be ready to go as soon as you're told?
Listen, when everything settles down with this virus and there's the opportunity to fight again, and if they call me up and say, hey, you want this fight, we think it's good for you, I'll just say, yeah, give it to me, because I'm ready. I in the past, I have admitted many times that in the past, I didn't train at home. I didn't keep in shape. I ate whatever I wanted. But I think in recent times, I've actually matured as a fighter and as a person, as a father, and I'm doing everything right now. I think so. I think I'm doing everything right.
There was a few words between you and Dillian Whyte on Twitter. I think he did an article with Sky Sports where he sort of suggested that if you had a fight again, he'd knock you out. He wasn't 100%, and he was a bit critical of your fight with Shaundale Winters. What did you make of those comments?
Dillian's a funny guy. It's I don't take any of those comments seriously. I know he's a good fighter. Listen, I have a lot of respect for him. He's done some great things. He had some great fights, and I know why he doesn't want to fight me, because firstly, I can beat him, and secondly, he's chasing to be world champion. So, but if no one else was to fight him, I've been calling him out ever since I lost, because I know that I could beat him. And I'm not being cocky. I'm not saying I'm the best and I can beat everyone. I know that if we have a rematch, it'll be an interesting fight, and a lot of people want to see it again.
I mean, I sort of wrote a bit of an article after you beat Shaundale Winters on possible options that I saw out there. You've got sort of big clashes in the UK. I'm sure you know about Usyk and Chisora, Daniel Dubois and Joyce. Were these fights you're going to target? Obviously, with Usyk and Chisora, the winner would likely go on to a shot potentially with Anthony Joshua. But even the loser of that fight is still a big name, big fight. And of course, Daniel Dubois and Joyce. So were you interested in those two fights?
I'm interested in any fights they put in front of me. Like, I'm the same as Dillian. Whoever wants it can get it, I've been like, I'm not, from now until the end of my career, when I finish boxing, I want to take any fight that makes sense, any fight, in every fight, and I fight. I like to challenge myself. So if these are the fights that the promoters and the manager, my management team, and coach want, then I'll take it.
And how much would you love to get back to the UK? You've got a big UK following from those 2 fights in the UK. Is that like another ambition you have?
Yeah, New Zealand's my home. There's Samoa. There's America because I stay there for training, and there's the UK. Every time we come back to the UK, we always showing love. People look after us, and there's a lot of people. I think we've got some supporters there, and I'd love to be back in UK fighting. I think my last 2 fights have been in America, and it's been great. But it's always great to it's always going to be great to come back to the UK and fight there again.
What do you make of sort of the atmosphere in the UK? You fought in both Cardiff in that big stadium and at the O2. What do you make of sort of the atmosphere of the UK fans?
Listen, it's the best atmosphere I've been. Well, obviously because of those fights have been my biggest fights. It's the best. It's the good thing about the UK is that the supporters get behind their fighters. The supporters get behind them. They cheer for them. They encourage them. They lift them. And the atmosphere in the arena is when I was walking out for the AJ fight, I couldn't even hear the people next to me talking. So it was that loud and that crazy that as a fighter, that's what you want. You want the crowd to cheer you on and encourage you and just hope that you do the best.
You mentioned sort of the AJ fight. Having dealt with that pressure of 80,000 in a massive stadium, do you think you'll be better prepared if a fight of that magnitude comes up again?
Yeah, with that fight, with the fight with AJ and the 80,000 people, and the fight with Whyte, and all the fights that I've had, I think leading up to this point, if I had the opportunity to fight in front of a big crowd like that again, I'll be comfortable. I'll be used to it, and I'll know exactly what to do.
What fights have you been watching during this period? Are you, someone who looks back at sort of the old heavyweights? Are you a fan of David Tua? Anyone like that?
I love David Tua. He's for what he achieved as he's the person that I looked up to growing up, and I aspired to be like him. And then one thing when I spoke to him early on in my career, I said, "Hey, Dave, like you're one of my idols. I want to be like you." And he said to me, "Nah, don't try and be like me. Try and be better than me." And so he always gave me good advice. There's David Tua. There's a New Zealand fighter, Shane Cameron, who's done well here in New Zealand. Marcelino Mosoya is a Samoan fighter who was champion of the world. And then there's all the other fighters. Like I love watching Lennox and when he was fighting. I love watching Roy Jones Jr. There's so many great fighters from the past that just you go on YouTube and you find all the fights.
100%. Do you take, when you're watching them, do you sort of take things, to implement perhaps in your game from like a Lennox Lewis or anyone like that? Or you just watch?
Yeah, from every fight that you watch, you watch it to enjoy it, but then you watch it to try and pick up on things because these guys were the best in the era. These guys were the ones, leading the way. So when you watch as a fan, but you also watch as someone who wants to learn.
Last saw you in Vegas at your gym. It was just before Wilder and Fury. Didn't catch up with you afterwards. What did you make of the fight and how it played out?
It was a great performance by Fury. I guess no one really believed him when he said, I want to come out, I want to put Deontay Wilder on the back foot, and I want to beat him up, and I want to pressure him. And everyone sort of just said, "Oh, nah, he's not going to do that." Fury's style is running around and avoiding being hit, and he's a good mover and he boxes from the outside. But I think he surprised a lot of people.
What did you? I'm pretty sure I saw a photo of you together. I think the next day. What was the conversation about? If you can let us in. You remember?
Yeah, before the fight, I was every week I text him, hope his training camp's going well, and he always keeps in touch. He's always shown me respect, and one thing I texted him was before the fight. I said, "Hey, when you win that belt, can you promise me can I have a photo of you in a belt?" And he said, "Yep, sure." And so the next day after the fight, I text him and his friend was off, so I text his team and they said, "Yeah, come down and see the champ." And so I was excited because everyone just finished watching this great fight. He dominated, and I had the opportunity to go and meet him the next day and take a photo of the bouts. And he's a man of his word.
Deontay Wilder's obviously made some comments after the fight and sort of in the period since. And he said to the PBC podcast, I believe a week or so ago, about Tyson Fury. He didn't believe Tyson Fury was the champion, and they have to have third fight to really decide who the champion is. What did you make of those comments?
I think everyone has their own opinions, and if that's his opinion, then respect to him. But Fury is the champ. Fury beat him. He was a champion, and Fury beat him, and now Fury's got the WBC champ, so Fury's a champ. So you can't really. Everyone has their opinion. He can say this, he can say that, they can say this, they can say that. But at the end of the day, he's the champ.
There's obviously talk that when we come back, Eddie Hearn's been talking about Joshua and Fury meeting in an undisputed fight. Perhaps Wilder and Pulev taking step-aside money. How realistic do you think this fight is to happen between Joshua and Fury?
Listen, I think, in my personal opinion, it can happen, but I think it won't happen. I think it should happen. But because there's egos, there's a lot of people you have to deal with. That everyone has to have the right sort of deal to make them happy. Managers, promoters, there's TV broadcasters. There's a lot of people that are involved that have to be happy in order for it to happen. So, I hope it can happen because that's the fight everyone wants to see. But I don't think it'll happen.
I mean, you fought Anthony Joshua, and I believe you sparred Tyson Fury in the past. Stylistically, how would that matchup work for you? How would it sort of play out?
I haven't sparred Fury. I would have loved to, though. I mean, to test myself against the best in the world or the best in our era. But the way that I see the fight, I think Fury wins. I think Fury's boxing ability, is, we've seen it. He can box and move, or he can stand and fight. So I think he can adjust and adapt. Don't get me wrong, Joshua's a great champion and he's done some great things and great knockout power, but he has to catch him in order to knock him out. I don't think he can catch him.
I mean, as you say, Fury is one of the best of his eras, and you have a very close relationship with him. Saw you guys on Instagram Live doing the workout and things.
Yeah.
But with him as the champion, is that a name you'd target at some point? Would it just be business between you two, or is that a fight that wouldn't happen? Or what's your thoughts on that?
Listen, I would love to. I'd love to fight him, and that's because he's a champ, and I want to test myself against the best. And I think he's the best in our era, and I'd like to test myself. But I think I've heard him say in many interviews that he has about 2 or 3 fights left in his career, and I'm not even one of them. He doesn't see me as a fight that he needs or wants. There's other people that he wants to fight. So, and listen, respect to him. But we are very close friends, and it's cool to have someone like that who I can just sort of text and say, "Hey, champ, you want to be in my video?" And he's always down to have fun, spread positivity, and make others smile and laugh at hard times.
Yeah, I mean, how inspirational is he as sort of a character that you've sort of got to know quite well? And what have you made of sort of his comeback to become WBC champion after everything he went through?
I think it's an amazing story, and not just myself, but a lot of people have been inspired from this story, from coming up as a young fighter, beating Vladimir Klitschko, becoming champion of the world, having all his everything that sort of took that away from him, and having his own hardships in life, and then coming back with everyone saying you can't do it, you'll never be champion again, you'll never fight again. And he proved everyone wrong and became champion of the world again. He's the I think that story has inspired a lot of people around the world.
I mean, you mentioned sort of the Klitschko win, and then you had the Wilder win. Which was the more impressive one for you?
For me, it was the Klitschko win because Klitschko was dominating for a long time. I think 10 years he was champion,
Mm.
right? And he was beating everyone and knocking everyone out, and and then he sort of beat the man who had it all. He beat the man who everyone was not scared of, but who was dominating. So I think that was impressive, and he was still very young at that time.
Just a couple of fights I do just want to get your opinion on. When we return, obviously I mentioned Daniel Dubois and Joyce. A lot of people in the UK were very excited for that fight. How did you see that fight playing out?
I don't know. It's I'm friend of Joyce's, and I see he's been training hard. I mean, that fight, I was excited to watch it happen. And so it's two guys. They're both undefeated. And so they're both putting it on the line. It's great to see that early on in their careers. So I'm not sure how that'll play out, but I think it's an exciting fight.
And obviously Chisora-Usyk. So a lot of people are saying this is Usyk's first real test at heavyweight. Do you think Chisora was capable of beating Alexander Usyk?
Hey, Chisora can beat anyone. He just has to land he's got some power behind him, and it just has to land the right punch at the right time. Usyk, though, I think is a very skilled fighter, good mover. I would pick Usyk because of the skill level that he has. But listen, you never know.
Absolutely. And final one, Joshua and Pulev was obviously supposed to happen. It's been delayed, like everything else. Bob Arum said that he believed that his man Pulev was going to shock Joshua. How did you see that fight go?
I just saw that Joshua would have too much for Pulev. Pulev has been around for a while, and listen, he's a solid fighter. But I guess Joshua's, it was great to see what he did with Ruiz, losing and then coming back and changing things here and there, and then he, became unified champion of the world again. So I think as a fighter, he can adjust and adapt, and I see that. I see it as he has too much for Pulev.
Well, Joseph, thanks very much for taking the time out to speak to me today. Really appreciate it. What's your message to the public during this time?
Message would be, while you guys are at home, please stay safe and stay positive. We're going to get through this together, but most importantly, have fun. Try and have fun while you're home. And we'll see you guys on the other side.
Brilliant. Joseph, thanks very much for speaking to me today. Keep up the good work on social media, and I hope to catch up soon in person.
Yeah, we'll catch up soon, brother.